Wow, a very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from the other garb. Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of cabins engulfed in flames. Beneath him are the words, Hjelmdal burning. Smells like worn cotton and a little old sweat there. Worn cotton with a side of flea market or trash bin.
Sniffing is okay, but please don't try anything on. Can't have you leaving your photon emissions in the fabric of things you're not going to buy.
You're not imagining it. Photon emissions?
Hell yeah, man. I don't usually carry printed tees, but this one was just pure exemplar. A fan? No, I wouldn't go that far. But I do think the Hjelmdalaman saga is an integral part of our shared reality. Most people don't think that the man from Hjelmdal really existed, but they're wrong. I mean, even if the man from Hjelmdal didn't exist before the adventure novels, the stories have made it so that he has. It's simple, really. It's simply a matter of recognizing that cause and effect work in both directions. Besides, I've been to Kotla, though not quite as far north as the Hjelmdal, and watched northern lights travel across the sky. Very unique, energetic tides there.
It's for the best, because Hjelmdal is not a real place, and thus he could not have gone there. His theory isn't exactly incoherent, but its logic does suggest some unusual neural activity. Very, very unique and
2 real.
That's very cheap for a printed t-shirt that's still in pretty good shape.
It should belong to anyone who is ready to wear it. But why? I deal in goods, not services. Welcome to Hjelmdal. Hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything. Have you tried it before?
It's almost like he's worried for you.
If you say so. Here you go, man.
Yes, darling. That's the coalition government ordained Parolidon. Straight into your gut. Not so sure about this. Because it's an anti-radiation drug and you're a cop, not a post-apocalyptic scavenger.
Of course. For the moment, you'll be back again. I've got a...
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die? Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die?
A gust of cold air sweeps through the chimney. The stones and minerals on the shelves rattle as though agitated. For a moment, it almost feels as though you're outside the building, exposed to the atmosphere.
Didn't we already talk about this? What are you talking about? My address is exactly the same. Rue de Saint-Guilain 10.
No, the old coal plant that used to be here was subsumed into the new venture, its ruins swallowed up. Yet it has a different address in the heart of the city.
This doesn't make any sense. Are you saying my business was spared because of a technicality? Where is this coming from? And what?
Don't let her become complacent. She still needs to ward her soul against the evil forces. She starts laughing, her fingers trying to rub away the exhaustion from her face.
Do you know what this is? It's a mourning ring. I made this when my first company failed. It was a small jewelry shop right here in the East Delta Commerce Center, built with the little I inherited from my parents. I drove it into the ground within a year. I didn't have what you would call a viable business plan. It wasn't just the jewelry shop either. I always thought that it was just the world that you were supposed to try again and again until you finally succeed. And now you're telling me what? That it was all because I didn't run my little shops and ventures from a dump inside an abandoned chimney? Yeah. Or maybe it's the entire world that's cursed. It's such a precarious place. Nothing ever works out the way you want it. That's why people like role-playing games. You can be whoever you want to be, you can try again. Still, there is something inherently violent even about dice rolls. It's like every time you cast a die, something disappears. Some alternative ending or an entirely different world. But anyway, thanks for sharing your theories, officer. You mean the curse that I'm spared of because I live outside its immediate reach? I'm listening. Excuse me? A 2mm hole in reality? This can't be true. Sona is involved in this? So it's even worse than I thought. It's not just the commercial area that's cursed, it's the entire world.
She looks outside the window where the night has fallen on the yard.
Just Martinez? In any case, thank you for stopping by. It's good to have an answer, even if I can't claim to understand it fully.
Put your hands where I can see them.
Show me your hands. This is the pigs. Show me your hands. Right now!
Scavenged, battery-powered police lights protrude from her back. The flickering light show reveals a gun in her shaking hand. Her hand is trembling from some sort of neurodegenerative disease. You shouldn't be here. Something's very wrong with her. She's completely out of control.
The man appears to be pulling out an object from his pocket.
Fear under threat! Fear under threat! Superseding event. Split-second decision. Get on the ground! Get on the goddamn ground! Subject yourself to a full-body cavity search. Prohibited materials concealed in nostrils, ears, mouth, navel, urethra, foreskin, vagina, and rectum.
In her mind, the cavity search is happening, as long as she's saying it. It appears the things she says are very real to her. You have to go for the gun sooner or later. Perhaps you can learn crucial facts before you do.
It's the goddamn police shitbag! Cut the pavement! You're under arrest!
As she waves her hands, you notice familiar-looking ampoules and packets sticking out of the mountain of police gear on her back. Medicine? Or drugs? She thinks she's a police officer. Try treating her like a police officer. A lower-ranking police officer.
What? Sir?
With a swift, poorly coordinated move, the woman slams the megaphone against her lips and teeth. A trickle of blood runs down her chin. She doesn't notice it.
Officer compromise! Unlawful impersonation! Pigs en route! Engage your will!
Okay, she's actually more agitated now. My bad.
Confiscated contraband! Restricted access! 2 kilos missing! Eyewitness report compromised! Back up! Back up! Back up! Status unconfirmed!
No. I thought Mr. Moran. Gareth.
Aggravated assault! Man down! Officers in pursuit!
There's a scenario unfolding in her head right now. It has nothing to do with what's happening here.
Law enforcement compromised! Impersonating a police officer!
Does she not believe you're actually a police officer?
License and registration! License and registration! Come in dispatch! Sector! Azimuth!
It's not a code, just disjointed words. She's losing it. One twitch and there would be blood.
Confined quarters! Assailant coming at me! Split-second decision! Oh, well!
Oh, I see. Okay, the gun was empty. All is good. You're fine.
What is this? This isn't police issue. Police weapons have bullets. This isn't real. Police guns always have bullets. What is this? Why did you sell me this?
She looks devastated. Grab the gun. Right now.
No one ever cares anymore. Why would they treat me like this?
This limbed and headed machine of pain and undignified suffering is grinding to a halt. Tired of walking the desert, it doesn't want to feel or think anymore. Okay, you need to figure out what to do with her now.
Nobody's ever around. Nobody ever comes to visit me.
Her scratched skin is warm to the touch, but the person inside doesn't even know you're there. The catatonic woman, especially now that she's unarmed, doesn't seem to be a threat to anyone but herself. The catatonic woman doesn't understand, probably even hear your kind words. She just is. It's a shame. Recognition from an actual police officer would probably mean a lot to her. Too bad she'll never know.
Please leave the radio on. Mr. Moran is on Channel 8.
Reflex to what? Being left alone? She stands motionless, just a heap of clothes and flashes now. Maybe if you search her once more. The woman stands slumped. Is one of those things a police cap? There were narcotics in there too. You're thinking of taking them? Do. The old woman doesn't react to your touch. She doesn't even flinch as you reach out and disentangle the familiar-looking lieutenant's cap from her mountain of RCM paraphernalia. You take the vial of Pyrrolidon and the bottle of speed as if she didn't consume them. She didn't look high. She confiscated them, a little like you are doing now. The woman stands slumped. She looks catatonic.
Oh, hey man, it's good to see you. Goodbye,
Welcome back.
Good morning! Yeah! Hardcore!
Yeah! Remix time! Tape goes here, into deck B.
A hand on his ear. He listens to the audio through his headphones and shouts.
Wow! Did you get this from Arno himself?
A great excitement is bubbling to the surface within him. This is big.
Listen, I'm just going to show it to you. Ready? Assault! It would be unbelievably hyper!
What is this? It's good. How did you guys do that?
Yes, but what if Van Eyck based his remix on some forgotten local melody, like a folk song, and you just found the original piece that inspired him to create this jam?
Nah, to me it sounds like classic Van Eyck. I don't think he needs any inspiration from folk songs. Maybe he lives in Martinez and just threw away part of his song because he thought it wasn't good enough?
I think it's just happenstance. Chaos in action. Contingencies of our limited existence.
That and Egghead's fantastic talent.
Noid's right. Egghead's technical talent is the key. No, this is definitely part of the same song. Something mysterious is going on here.
Be how it may, if it fits, it fits. Bring up the volume.
What about the bass? Do you have any ideas for that?
Yeah, I remember.
I think you might know the answer.
But how?
What about that compressor Andre was setting up to achieve some sort of parallel processing?
Don't be too hard on yourself if you don't figure it out.
But it could be hyper hardcore. Yeah, it was awesome. Too hardcore, in fact. It sucks up all the air in the mix until it's the only thing left.
Inside your chest, the heart beats still with the after effects of the sound. Imagine if you could harness that power. What about the compressor? The one with the spiky hair was setting up to achieve some sort.
Oh, hey man, it's good to see you. Goodbye. Oh, hey man, it's good to see you. Goodbye, officer.
You close your eyes and vacate your skull, leaving your brain to wonder, where did that little fluttering light go?
Total darkness. You sink down the darkest fathoms of your own personal deep, vertebrate by vertebrate, through the unformed skulls of your mind. Here it will begin. Who fucking cares? No, not good. Orgasmic. Oh, don't worry. The music's still there. It's you who is gone. Nothing. Just the immaculate silence of your spinal fluid. Electrified.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Every vertebrae in your spine is an unformed skull ready to pop up and replace the old one. Like shark teeth. The one you're currently in has a little brain forming in it, waiting for its turn to rule the world. In the spinal cord.
From what I can see, it's about to bust a move.
Foolhardy, do you even know what's happening on the surface? Maybe 1,000 years have passed. Or maybe you started spazzing out like 2 seconds ago.
With your eyes still closed, the first thing you feel, all the way back in the pivoting darkness of your own torso, is warmth. You have become a triumph of rhythmoplastics. somewhere in a smelly wooden church on the coast of Revachol. The wounds from the war you waged on your body are healing, twist by twist, turn by turn. As you open your eyes, you should scream, hyper, hyper. It seems appropriate. You have become a flawless interlocking mechanism, a flesh and bone approximation of the throb coming from the speaker setup of the one called eggheads, entirely, rigidly, imbecilic, without pity or fear. Free from self-awareness, no deliberation, only, and I mean only, execution.
Oh my god! No way!
With his reel-to-reel mixer blasting the anthem of a future that will never come, the young man observes your moves for a second. He throws a screwdriver and a bunch of drill chucks into the corner and explodes into dance. What he lacks in sharpness, he more than makes up for in violent enthusiasm. The young woman lifts her headphones up slightly and raises her chin, looking at you expectantly.
Asu, aren't you going to dance?
No, recording.
The lead programmer throws the other young woman a knowing glance before turning her attention back to her own work. The young man immediately bounces up and down, then assumes the same dance pattern, embellishing it with some sort of waving motion. The authority of the law is clearly unquestionable. The dynamic motion of your flailing body is bordering on the extreme. You're going off the charts. You feel as if turning on the hyperdrive will be a point of no return. It feels almost melancholy. Are you sure you have the entire pussy along for this?
Here we go again! Hardcore fancy air! The sound above my head!
On the coast of the Martinez Inlet, in a small weather-beaten stave church built 380 years ago by settlers from the Occident, most likely to guard against an anomaly at its center, an officer of the RCM is contorting his body into idiotically rigid shapes as he invents the future of dance music. It's the hardest anyone has ever danced.
I am la Revacholière. I am the city. I am a fragment of the world spirit, the genius Loki of Revachol. My heart is the wind corridor. The bottom of my air is red. I have 100,000 luminous arms. Come morning, I carry industrial dust and let it settle on tree leaves. I shake the dust from those leaves and onto your coat. I've seen you. I've seen you. I've seen you with her. And I've seen you without her. I've seen you on the crescent of the hill. The modulations of my voice are noted down with thermometers and barometers. You feel me in your nostrils, on the little hairs on the back of your neck. I also reside in your lungs and vestigial organs. Everywhere there is space. You are an officer of the citizens' militia, Jante and Rebut. When you wear your coat, you wear my soul. You move through my streets freely, in motor carriages and on foot. You have access to the hidden places. You also circulate among those who are hidden. I need you. You can keep me on this earth. Be vigilant. I love you.
An officer of the RCM is lying on the floor of a small church with his eyes rolled back and his tongue lolling out. Several others are standing around him. He slowly comes to.
Had a good rest there?
Fuck yeah!
I bet you did. Those were some advanced moves, man.
You might be imagining it, but it feels like Egghead turned the volume down. Such is his respect.
Man! Now imagine if we could do that, right? But with like 1,000 people.
End of human development. Mission complete.
All right.
You're absolutely beat. Muscles relaxed and feet like noodles underneath.
Goodbye, officer.
Yes, what is it?
The mother of humanism stands above. Why? That does seem to be a problem. Maybe you meant something else? I don't know. What are we thinking of? Part of your mind has gone on to other things already. Only a strange little sadness remains. The mother of humanism towers above you. A wax painting on a cracked pane of...
Yo, man. What's on your...
Hardcore.
Good morning! Yeah! Harder car! Good morning! Yeah! Harder!
Bzz, 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 goes the track in the background, never ending. You can't grasp what's missing, but you can try to make something up anyway. The young man bobs his head to the music.
Good morning! Yeah! Harder!
Here's an idea. Say what you said before, the exact same thing. Or wait, say something.
Yeah!
It's hard to say for sure, but the digital
The Coppernado is back. What do you want? What's that, Copper? You want us to help little old ladies now? Yeah. We'll send someone out. God, poor lady. Don't worry. We'll handle this. I think she got some family in Kurong or something. Bastards left her alone when she got sick.
Hey, wasn't Everard's B team looking for her the other day? They said something about her, I don't know, finding something?
Yeah, I think you're right, Gene. She have something of yours, Pig?
Whatever you do not admit to these punks you lost your gun.
No? Well, whatever then, Copper.
No. They totally said what it was. What was it? Anyone remember?
I don't remember. I was fucking drunk.
Let me know if you figure it out back there. Now, anything else we can help you with? Auntie LaPlante, we always called her. Something LaPlante.
Marianne, amigo. Fuck you, Pig. What the fuck you are playing at, huh?
Easy, Al. Don't let him get to you. Have one for Auntie LaPlante, huh?
Don't disrespect Miss LaPlante, Copper. She's good people. We all get a little crazy sometime. Was, like before. Just an old lady. Her kids moved away years ago. Never come to visit. Never took her calls. She gets out every now and then. She did right by lots of us when we were kids. Always was a little off, but still.
Us kids? That must have been ages ago. She was better then. The children kept her together.
Wanted to be a cop, you mean? Well, shit. I don't actually know. Anyone know why she started acting like a pig?
No fucking clue. It's gotta be the crazy. Who'd want to be a pig? You are already signed up, Cerdo. This guy is seriously damaged.
Nah, don't worry about it, Al. The cops want to dress up and play policeman. Let them. We'll keep doing the real work. Dunno. She lives by the water. Shit washes up all the time on the beach.
Station 41. A man carries a crate of rusted, unused badges. You think these would net us something at the annual auction? A balding detective drags a comb futilely across his head. Shit, who'd want those? Just dump them into the river.
No problem, old cop man. We take care of our mentally ill here in Martinez. Ain't that right, boys?
Sure enough, we're the real heroes on these streets.
Yeah? What?
Hi again, gendarme. Bye-bye, gendarme. Hi again, gendarme.
It's the sports. He's a sports guy.
Bye-bye, gendarme.
Hey, what's this?
Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it. The wind is turning. Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. Aye, the sea's gonna calm down soon, I can feel it.
You think she really needs more of that after a man died at sea? What if I told you it is actually possible to go on a date sober? Before recorded history, men and women were able to do simple, very primitive things together sober. Acknowledge the situation and keep it basic.
I have, and I don't really.
You just want to go for a walk, What kind of a monster doesn't want to go for a walk? Walks are innocent.
Just a walk? I don't know, officer. I would not have taken you for an innocent perambulator. Where would this walk take us, officer?
Nothing creepy, strange, or out there. Keep it eerie and simple.
All right, I will walk with you. But you need to understand that nothing is going to happen. We're just walking. Me too. It's been ages since I just had a normal conversation with one of you guys.
She means men.
All right, I'll go put the kids to bed and we'll meet at Land's End in 15 minutes.
She doesn't wait for an answer. You better get ready. The woman gazes steadily at the waves. A sudden gust picks up her dark hair and lets it fall again, tousled, wild. She brushes a few stray locks from her eyes, and only then spots you approaching.
Aye, so here you are. It's late and the sun is going down. It'll be dark soon. If we stay here long enough, we will be joined by a cortege of drunks and teenagers. Know that you're not the first guy to bring a girl to Land's End. This is what the locals call a make-out spot. That is not going to happen here today. I just want to make that clear, Dimples.
Her thoughts are still elsewhere, with distances across the water, and with the water itself. Across the rusty water, that's La Delta, the financial district. In the mist-covered distance, towers rise as a rebuke to the poverty of this coast.
Drinking men aren't known for keeping their appointments. Aye, so an officer should be. All that running around must need a lot of structuring.
Her laughter is throaty and warm. It rhymes with the waves and the cries of the gulls. As she turns to face the sun, reflected in the waves and the skyscrapers rising across the bay, you cannot help following her steady gaze. You should say something, anything. Maybe the tequila sunset thing.
It's a common Ravisholian expression. Means drinking yourself to death. So, are you going to keep the name? Well then, Officer Dubois.
The remains of the dying sun are reflected in the waves and the skyscrapers rising across the bay. Your mind clears for a moment as your senses take it all in. Not just the glass skyscrapers, fragile looking in the shimmering air. River Esperance flowing into the bay.
Isn't it strange for this all-powerful thing, the sun, to be so generous towards us? You know, the best time to go out fishing is usually towards sunset, when the water is warmer.
The sun also falls on the Capeside tenements and war-torn ruins. An old sea fortress juts out, seemingly impervious to the sheen cast over everything else, shaking you out of your reverie. The sun does little for the dead, and those hopelessly lost in their own minds, or people living in desert climates with sparse vegetation and little drinking water.
Oh, that was a bit of pride and a bit of superstition.
And a bit of conceptual unity too, it being yellow and all.
Now you're just nitpicking. But I concede. Maybe desert people sometimes disagree.
There's salt in the air, and the cries of the gulls and the skuas. Grit of the sand and the green glint of broken bottles. But still your gaze always returns to the dazzling streaks of light, wherever they may be reflected, their fading opulence.
It's bringing us spring, summer. It's entirely on our side, no matter what we do or who we are, for absolutely no reason. It's unlike no other powerful being, certainly no powerful organization or government. How can that be? I guess we wouldn't really be here if that thing wasn't on our team.
Here we go. 2 different approaches to cap this off with style.
Aye. And a benevolent one. When did you last have one of those on your side? Well, now you have that giant thing to watch over you. So, to hell with youth. You know, the wind's gonna pick up soon, and I have to go, but... Have this. The sun's good, but it doesn't stick things. I've no use for it anymore. No. Men around here are too drunk to pose a threat to me. Doubt it. But thank you for the company.
This is as far as it goes with her. You'd need to put a year between you and your last drink for anything more.
Farewell.
As she walks off, the wind picks up, and the light from the sun seems to fade. The crumbling silhouette of failed electrical R&D towers in the distance, beckoning. Wow, so someone's been a little boring. Yes, my standard liege. Someone's seen all sorts of wild ideas pop off and thought, I'll take the boring one. The regular, please. The brown. No need to be defensive. The regularity, the brownness, the cut and dry have their appeal. A very standard appeal. Of course you do. Let's get right to it. My lord's coppo type is regular cop. I'll let everyone know. I'll send out a telefax. Yes, the type of cop you are, sire. Think of it as a caste, a class even, a nation of regular law officials that you belong to. Done and done. No actual old door. Walk. It's getting cold. On the table, you see a bowl. The bed is comforting. The place feels almost like home now, quiet and dignified around you. A new life by the seaside. You're incredibly tired. The darkness and warmth come fast.
It's easier this time. Drifting off, your head has found a comfortable indent in the pillow. Your legs and your torso feel like lead weights sinking to the bottom of the sea until they're suddenly light.
This respite, you've earned it, brother. Bask in the darkness. Let it swallow you up and swivel you around while you forget everything you've managed to remember. No, this is the one before that. We'll just keep cycling it for you if you don't mind. As long as we can. Spin it like black yarn.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
You're welcome, Harry boy.
After centuries of darkness, the alarm rings. But what's this? You actually feel rested. There's no time to cuddle with your pillow, however, or as much as shiver from the cold. The world awaits.
Go.
Yes?
I see you haven't left our little Martinez yet. Still running around. Like some kind of cross-country law official. Hi. I guess you do. What's on your mind, Officer Harry? Oh. That's good to know, I guess. Why is it in the sea?
I think I might.
This calls for a funeral, if you ask me. Hi. Feels deserved, don't you think? Falling in the line of duty like that and all? Why odd? Our things are a part of our life world. They're made with our human sweat and they share human history. We should care about them as we care about humans. To some extent, at least.
Life world. Someone's been reading up on last century Gotwaldian philosophers. Play it cool now.
Oh yeah? You won't even be able to get it out of the water before early June. And where are you going to bury it? Who to invite? What music to play at the wake? Take it from someone who's been through a few funerals. It's easiest to just leave them there and let nature take care of it.
That's all we have time for right now anyway. Come back here in June and see how you feel about it then. It's not like it's going anywhere. Yes, that is a pity. But for now, let's focus on the things we do get to do.
You like the Capri funeral idea?
Yes?
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Just a moment.
10-4, come in, officer. Over. Roger that. 10.
Hello again, esteemed officer. What do you mean, actual source? I thought this issue was resolved. What?
Ma'am, what he's saying is true. We found an anthroponetic anomaly in the small Pinewood church down the coast. I don't mean to be an alarmist, and more research is needed, but it's not looking good.
But that's not in any of the ancient texts. How am I supposed to protect my bookstore from that?
She's too afraid to even say the word. Tell her the truth. It's out of her hands.
You're right, officer. I mustn't lose faith, especially now that Annette is finally settling in at school and making friends. No, we can't just leave. Besides, didn't I have some Sailite hope catchers round here somewhere? I must find them. Thank you for your help in any case. You're welcome back here anytime.
Common office radio, like any of those found in countless waiting rooms, lounges, and other semi-public spaces all over the world.
There's usually a little switch somewhere. Ah yes, it's the one that says release.
The lock disengages with a nice click. There's nothing obviously remarkable about it. It's about the size of a common pasta box. If this transceiver were a person, it would be an accountant at a large logistics firm. Perfectly competent, but unexceptional.
I'm sure the transceiver understands, Detective.
It's true. The transceiver appears quite forgiving.
You've surprised me more than once during...
With its transceiver gone, the radio has ceased its persistent buzzing. This is, generally speaking, it would be dishonorable to take it. But then, it looks like a military uniform, and wearing that is very honorable. So, a conflict of honor, it's up to you. Before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. Before the cargo container. As it's always been, it's impossible to open a container with rhetoric.
Mr. Dubois, the word in Martinez is a certain police officer is once again happily reunited with his service weapon. I prefer my police officers old-fashioned like that, with a gun. You can do so many things with a gun that you can't do without one. Now, what can I help you with? Fanny. That doesn't ring any bells, Harry.
Funny. She was trying to set up a narcotics operation in the old church on the coast.
Oh, that a cell. Yes, I do seem to remember sending a pretty young thing down there to liven up the place. Get some melodic music in there. Amphetamine lab? That sounds very immoral and debauched. Frankly, a health risk. But what do I know about kids these days? The music they listen to, the drugs they do while they listen to that music?
It sounds to me like you are trying to start an amphetamine lab in the district. And you're using some delinquents you found God knows where to set it up and run it for you.
Found God knows where? That a cell is the daughter of Miko the kebab, a man who once killed a guy with a kebab. I think a daughter of a man who killed a man with a kebab can handle running a little nightclub, don't you? Maybe it was Bogovir. Or Jakub. I think it might have been Conrad. A nightclub? Harry, I'm an old-fashioned guy. After work, I like to listen to some rock and roll music and have a non-alcoholic lager. Nightclubs don't interest me. But here I am, talking about myself, when you have much more important things going on. My. She's quite the looker, Harry. You can't imagine how pleased I am the two of you are reunited. Tell me, was it difficult to convince the pigs to give it up? I knew you could handle it. I know my special policeman. Anyway, I'm glad you're all right and...
Despite the dirt that surrounds and trails you, a beacon of light emerges from deep within you. The door stands silent.
Satisfied, detective?
Try again. Just like that, you hear a click, then a rattle, some mechanism unlocks itself inside the door.
Ahoy! Come on in!
You can't be serious. Yes?
The man stands at the far end of the shipping container. It's hard to say anything more about him. You cannot make out any of his details, but you do feel the overwhelming presence of capital. The feeling causes all the hairs on your body to stand at attention, like soldiers preparing for review. Something's amiss. The light beams bend around his face and scatter in 1,000 directions. It seems the laws of physics do not apply here. They are suspended, distorted, and echo. Trying to visualize the physics at play is liable to give you an aneurysm. Don't think about it too hard. In the general stillness, only your tongue moves, flickering as you utter.
Welcome. Come in. Make yourself at home. Sorry, I'm not better able to receive you. I wasn't expecting visitors today.
You can't hear him exactly, yet you're able to understand every word he says. It is very strange. An overwhelming hum covers everything. Voice doesn't escape from him.
Now, what can I do for you, gentlemen? Who am I? Oh, I haven't been asked that question for such a long time. I don't meet a lot of people outside my circle these days. Anyhow, my name is Rustam Diodore, investor, license holder, and extremely high net worth individual. And you are?
Mr. Diodore, I am Lieutenant Kim Kitsuragi of the RCM, and this is my partner.
Pleasure to meet you, Harrier Dubois. I must admit, the name suits you very well.
Oh Lord, not this again. Oh, nothing. It's just that we've got this murder to solve, and yet you go around asking everyone about money. And every time I ask, are you sure this is related to the case, you say, sure, Kim, I think it is. And yet, it never seems to get us any closer to solving the case.
It's quite alright. I'm used to the question by now. To be blunt, I inherited my fortune from my grandmother, who herself was an extremely high net worth individual back in Grad. All I did was take her fortune and invest it prudently. Believe it or not, it takes more than a bit of skill not to blow a vast fortune on sailing boats, bad choices, and unsupervised state policy.
And blow. Actually, at the level this guy is, it takes several generations to do that. But, alright.
I gotta tell you, at first, being rich is a lot of work. You've got to work hard because everything's so darn expensive. You know, prices increase exponentially at this income level. But then, once you've reached my position, it's nearly impossible for me not to make money. My assets are so diversified that I'm bound to come out ahead no matter what. Some of my lower net worth friends say to me, but doesn't that take all the fun out of it? And I tell them, not really. Sure, and they benefit when I buy things to stimulate the economy. Do you know how many jobs it takes to build and maintain a racing yacht? Dozens, at least. Of course, in the future, it'll all be automated. But my point is this. Every man gets what he earns. It's the height of tyranny to take that from him. Capital makes one speechless, does it not? Blinds like the sun that rises from beyond the horizon after a gloomy winter.
Hey, all this talk about money has made you lose the thread. What is going on with the light in this place? That's what you need to ask him about.
What do you mean? Are you talking about my chin? Oh, that's what you mean. Yes, I've heard of this effect, though I've never witnessed it myself, of course. It has something to do with our Weiss-Wiesemann coefficient.
The Weiss-Wiesemann coefficient is a ratio designed to reflect the difference in net worth between individuals. When the coefficient is close to 1, or 100%, it means one person possesses all the net worth. Among that group of individuals, it's been observed that when the Weiss-Wiesemann coefficient reaches about 0.96 or so, the laws of physics begin to bend around the high net worth individual. The Weiss-Wiesemann coefficient for you and this individual appears to be 0.9998, repeating. That's not good for you.
Among other things. But calm down. I'm but a lowly single-digit billionaire. No, not really. There are actually quite many digits.
A man this chill is at least a triple-digit billionaire.
I see nothing of the sort. To be frank, all I see is a gentleman who's unusually well dressed for Martinez, in a cargo container, which I admit is odd.
Yes, I imagine that does look strange to you. My container, traveling. This is a great way to get around. It's fun, it's safe, and it gives me lots of time to think. By the way, let me now ask you a question. Where are we exactly?
In the very, very early days of colonizing this archipelago, the kingdom of Surens, a precursor of a modern Sur-le-Clay, used to own the city of Revachol, an obscure detail in the bigger picture, but still worth dropping.
Ah, a fellow history buff. I myself am currently reading up on Franco-Nigerian era trains. Very interesting stuff. It's a shame I can't get out and explore myself. One of the downsides of being an extremely high net worth individual is that mobs of low net worth individuals are constantly banding together to ask for money. There simply aren't enough hours a day to hand out all the handouts. It's like feeding seagulls. There are always more, and they never seem to do anything interesting with it, except more seagulls. Spending money is a matter of desire. I'm sure you agree. I don't have the desire for spending it like that. Smart, you know? It also provides a means to hide from all the targeted advertising we extremely high net worth individuals are constantly subjected to. The luxury yachts, high fidelity portable radio systems, fail-proof outerwear, and so on. It just gets a bit middle class after a while. A bit bourgeois. What? No, I didn't say that at all. Being rich is great. Just don't tell anyone I told you that.
Could you please stop asking everyone for money? It does not reflect well on the RCM, and to be perfectly frank, we can't afford to look worse than we already do.
It's perfectly alright. Based on your appearance, I can tell I'm dealing with a smart man. As you may know, us high net worth individuals don't have a lot of cash on hand. Investments and liquidity are enemies of one another. I think I only have coins for coffee machines. Here is 3 real. How much can you get for this? That's the idea, my friend. You've got to work for the rest. Maybe you can make that money grow. Come up with an investment plan.
This is a proposal, not a question. These ultra-liberal types love losing huge sums of money on ludicrous proposals. Ergo, you should come up with a plan that's totally dead in the water.
Thanks for stopping. Welcome back, gentlemen. What can I do for you?
Congratulations. You've somehow managed to fail at failing, which means, in a strange way, that you've succeeded.
A youth center, huh? What kind of youth center?
A place to train buff kids, a place to teach them practical skills like teamwork and self-discipline. Come on, tell him what he wants to hear.
I like that you're thinking about the future, but couldn't the center have a more economic focus? Brilliant. Without children, who'll be there to buy stuff in the future? When life closes a door, it opens a window, yes? What's the expected return on this?
You're deep into ultra-liberal territory now. Good work.
Very impressive. You've got a natural eye for unusual investment opportunities. I don't normally do this without a formal pitch deck, but to hell with it. What's the point of being rich if you have to follow all the rules? Here's the round of seed funding. This should be enough to prove out the concept and get things off the ground.
Cha-ching! What'll it be? Speed? Vodka? Cigarettes?
Remember, it's not a handout. It's an investment.
The lieutenant stands there, dumbfounded. His mouth opens slightly, then closes again. Is he having a stroke?
No, I'm not having a stroke. You're just still full of surprises. Most of them bad, but some good.
Now, was there anything else I could help you gentlemen with? The pleasure was mine. Unfortunately, I must be away soon. Farewell, friend.
Yes?
In control, no screen. Crane does.
Yes, what is it? Ah, very good.
Not the most advanced model, but at least everything appears to be in order.
No further comment necessary.
I believe that means we're ready to get started. I should warn you, once we begin setting up this antenna, we'll need to see the whole process through. There won't be any second chances, any do-overs. You understand? So if there's anything you'd like to get in order before we depart, I suggest you do it now. Ah, yes. I wasn't sure what to do about that, but then I discovered an abandoned power source down by the edge of the bay.
It's obvious. She's referring to your half-sunken Caprice 40.
In that case, let's move on. That's up to you. At a minimum, I would make sure you are physically and mentally prepared for an intense and difficult process. Once we begin, there can be no interruptions.
At the very least, you should make sure you're wearing a good pair of gloves.
Radio engineers typically carry overpriced solvent sprays to clean the antenna connections. But in a pinch, some common ammonia works just fine.
Psst. It's the alcohol in the ammonia that's doing the real work.
Finally, there's the question of stimulants. Some people prefer to keep illegal amphetamines on hand to help with their work. I'm not one of them, but they do exist. It is possible that technical fields attract a certain kind of personality. That's fine. Return to me when you're ready to go.
Whoa. In your hand, Pyrrolidon, the double rainbow of synthetic hallucinogens, rare and gritty, a product of the age of atomic power. What a funny little cat. Don't let the scary medical warnings throw you off. It's an inadequate antidote to radiation poisoning, but a potent antidote to boredom. It's not gonna give you radiation poisoning, stupid. Pyrrolidon is a perfect match for a badass junkie cop who's looking for a little heat. You need to lower the radiation levels, your stomach thinks. Slurp it. The container is warm to the touch. Or is that just the anticipation? You screw the lid open and look. A little slit on the side lets you just slurp it up, like an oyster. What is he? Your mother? Is Kim your au pair? Slurp it. Slurp the morsel of danger joy. You suck a minuscule drop of extremely chemical-smelling liquid into your mouth. There, it seeps into your tongue. When you swallow, it's already almost all gone. It tastes like many things, all melted into one conflagration in the back of your throat. As you look around, the world slowly exists as it did before. Only now, gentle flames lick at its edges, as though it were a photo burning. Not really. It's just a metaphor, this warmth. It makes you want to share your discovery with Kim. Why not? This government-developed substance seems very non-intrusive. Please don't actually operate any fire machines.
I'm happy for you.
His glasses turn golden as the fire reflects off the lenses. You feel this man is your brother. Just don't mix it with anything, he thinks, looking you over. Wow, Kim's badass. Or he's had a druggie partner. Whoa. That's probably it. Look at all these guys go off. Already you can tell you're going to be slurping a lot more Pyrrolidon, if you can keep the vomit in.
In the bottom right corner of the screen, there's a Pyrrolidon button.
Yes, what is it? Very good? If you'll help me with some of this equipment then.
Back across the water now. At least we are getting our exercise in today.
If you'll please carry that amplifier, officer, and if you'll take that spool of cable, we should be able to move it all in one trip. And now if you'll just connect that here...
It's done. I believe we are ready.
We're ready to try at least. Please put on these headphones. There should be 2 extra sets. I've configured the channels so that only your microphone is set to broadcast, officer. We'll all be able to listen, but anyone we reach will only hear your voice. You will need to transmit your connection request while I attempt to locate the warship's public frequency. You will likely encounter some interference, but it's important to keep transmitting your request until you're acknowledged. Ready? Then it will be exactly like every other moment of every other day. I ask again. Good. Beginning transmission.
A soft rustling between your ears, a winterscape with fast falling snow. Every light switch, every motor carriage, every doorbell, tea kettle, and radio in Martinez, all mingled with electrical interference caused by scattered thunderstorms over Ozone.
Officer? Are you in order? We're waiting for you to start. We don't have time for indecision. Just say whatever first comes to mind.
You're all alone out there, wandering a blasted heath, calling out to the night. But there is no reply, except for the buzzing of invisible machines. The lieutenant looks up at you with a nervous glance. Nervous for who, though?
Try again, officer.
Nein, Liebling. Unseren Jungen nach Redeposten. Marianne hat mir erzählt, dass Oscar nicht mehr derselbe ist, seit auf einem Luftschiff aus Graz zurückgekommen ist.
Something about her son going to Vredfort on an aerostatic to see some psychologists. Or maybe it's the psychologists saying it's normal to have feelings for strangers.
Liebling, bitte. Er ist unser einziges Kind.
It's very likely, based on what we've recently learned. Give me a moment while I attempt to narrow the preceding mode. In the meantime, you must keep trying. Again?
It's gone now. A slight frisson at the point where your neck meets your spine. Something about the lieutenant's words directed at you, but not you.
I didn't say anything, Detective.
Someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
An uncomfortable silence falls over the connection.
It's been a long winter. Long and cold.
I can assure you it's not my twin brother, though it certainly does sound like me.
Yes, a particularly eerie specimen, but still just a harmless piece of the past returning to surface.
Right. I just wish I could remember what I was talking about.
Natürlich halten ihn die Psychologen für vollkommen normal.
What else is there to do? Keep...
But someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
Dubois, please acknowledge. Liebling, bitte. Er ist unser einziges Kind. Where's she partner? Please identify.
The signals are getting increasingly mixed. Plucking Archer's signal from this will be like isolating a single strand from a tangle of hair.
It's not working. The crosstalk is simply too strong. I did not expect simply locating the signal to be so difficult. We must consider several variables. Local anthroponetic conditions, the sophistication of our transceiver, the quality of our connections, and the physics of our antenna itself. Our transceiver is perfectly capable, and we're also unlikely to change our local anthroponetic conditions. So, the next step is to thoroughly inspect our connections. I did not expect simply locating the signal. We must and we're... You need to climb up there and look at them for yourself.
But you don't have the technical expertise.
Someone has been maintaining it.
Come on, son. This isn't anything but a common high bar. Just get a solid overhand grip and hoist yourself up. Images of your body smashed against the pavement flood your mind. This is dangerous.
Then you might break your neck. That's true, but I can't leave my station.
Your gloves give you a solid grip on the metal bar. This feels pleasingly familiar. Keep it together, champ. You've got this. And before you know it, you're safely perched atop the monument.
Yes, you're a natural gymnast, detective. Now, would you like to do what you got up there to do?
The connection itself is nothing more than a little braid of exposed wire wrapped about the hoof of the horse. A copper fetter it cannot slip. The whole monument is covered in a thin but durable layer of oil and grime. It's obvious no one has cleaned it in years. The programmer mentioned ammonia, but anything alcoholic should dissolve the oils, creating a cleaner and clearer connection. It takes a few moments, but the alcohol gradually begins to break down the oils surrounding the copper wiring.
Is this really the time, detective?
It's all right, Lieutenant. He's simply cleaning the connections.
Once the oils have been dissolved, you wipe off the connections with your sleeve and reattach the cable.
It seems to have made some difference, but unfortunately not enough to alter the overall situation. The einziges Kind. Short of changing the shape of the antenna, I'm not sure what else we can do from here. And the lorries are all jammed together, so that's unlikely to happen. Ideally, narrow the receiving mode so that we can isolate the warship signal and eliminate... What do you mean? You adjust the antenna map. I'm afraid we're out of alternatives.
She's right. The responsibility is yours, and yours alone. There's no turning back now. You are face to face with Philip III. The Bronze King looks toward the west, not intentionally. It's a matter of perspective. His imperious gaze leads you naturally to his outstretched hand, which, for some reason, strikes you as sadly empty. You can't help but feel that saber you picked up might just give this older king a little more panache and better reception. Come on. Kings and sabers are so played out. There's a better way. Why not arm the good king's valiant steed instead? There seems to be just enough room between its teeth there. To your surprise, the saber slides snugly between the horse's beard teeth.
There is no way that is going to make any difference.
It's making a very slight difference. The signal is a bit clearer than it was.
This faithful steed cuts a dashing figure with the replica saber between its teeth. The sky is grey and overcast. Through the scrim, you can just make out the shadow of Coalition warship. A few of the idle lorry drivers and strikebreakers gesture at you with their cigarettes, more out of curiosity than anything else. From the window of one of the adjacent apartment buildings, an older woman leans out, her heavy breasts sagging. She yells a single word you can't make out, and then shuts the window with a violent thunk. You allow the broken hunk of metal to clatter to the ground. It wasn't clear to you it did anything anyway.
Nein, Liebling! What are you doing? The connection is even worse now. This is extremely unprofessional. But it is, because you broke it.
She's right. This was your responsibility.
Damn it! I'm going to push the power supply. I doubt it will last more than a few minutes, so you'd better make them count.
A maelstrom of sound, swirling and swirling around an invisible point. It's mounting. Mounting.
Nicht mehr derselbe ist seit... Lieutenant Dubois, please respond.
It's too much. Your eardrums are throbbing, about to burst.
A long winter, long and cold.
And then, nothing.
Try it now.
This is Worship Archer. We are acknowledging and accepting you. Though we're still getting quite a bit of interference.
This is the best we can do. I suggest you get to your business quickly. I doubt I'll be able to maintain even this connection very long.
This is it. You're finally getting to speak with those who hold real power. And by that they mean the ones with the guns and the warships. There is so much you wish you could ask, but you probably only have time for 1 or 2 questions before the signal is lost.
Please be advised that you are speaking on a public frequency. What is your request? A very important question with a very simple answer. We want humanity to endure. Beyond that, it may be said that we are the inheritors and stewards of Dolores Day's legacy.
Dolores Day. So beautiful.
Oh, incomparably so. But that isn't what made her so remarkable.
Not true. Her beauty was like a glowing coil on a hot stove, and yet you felt blessed to touch it.
She was the greatest innocence, the single most consequential being to have ever lived. Her legacy touches every aspect of modern life. Immeasurable. It includes interstellar travel, 3 scientific revolutions, humanism, internationalism, the welfare state, and balance of terror theory. Nothing less than the intellectual foundation of our modern order. The role of the Moralist International is twofold: to buy humanity sufficient time to perfect itself, and to patiently guide it along the road while protecting it from ideological highwaymen and eschatologists. It was established by many of the same founding party members who elected Dolores Day, and who, after her assassination, dedicated their lives to the continuation of their political and intellectual project. It's an elegant idea, one of the cornerstones of the modern era. In short, it holds that durable, lasting peace is possible when the major powers are capable of inflicting unacceptable and irreversible destruction upon one another. Because no rational state is willing to accept the risk of such a calamity befalling its own people. All powers are incentivized to de-escalate conflicts before they reach the point of no return. For the most part, it has. The world is certainly not free of violent conflict. But in the modern era, we have made great strides to reduce its frequency, duration, and severity. There are many. The communists say they are the next dialectical step in an inexorable spiral of progress. They claim to have resolved the inherent contradictions of moralism, and believe they're just one revolution away from establishing a humanist paradigm. The fascists say they are both the ancestors of and the successors to the loyalism. In other words, they believe that Dolores Day's reign simply represents a glorious phase of expansion within a greater Franco-Nigerian heritage. They criticize the DeLorean project for accepting and integrating new peoples rather than forcefully subjugating them. And then, there are our prodigal cousins, the Vazan Social Democrats, who hold our same values and have even adopted many of our same rights and iconography, though they persist in rejecting the umbrella of moralism.
For some reason, it's the Social Democrats she sounds most exasperated with.
We don't resent them. It's more that we are disappointed that they have chosen to emphasize certain points of dispute over broad areas of accord.
She speaks of them like a family member she's abandoned hope of ever maturing.
But of course, they also remain dependable partners in a number of centrist governing coalitions. The RCM exists under the umbrella of the coalition, just as the coalition exists under the umbrella of the morally internal. At the same time, the RCM is not exactly of the coalition. It's our understanding that the RCM's organizational structure predates the coalition. We believe it may even be modeled after the communal brigades themselves.
There is some truth to that.
But in a practical sense, it's the responsibility of the ethics divisions to ensure that both organizations are working towards the same ends. One now committed to upholding moralist values. Strange, isn't it? History is a river coursing ever downward. Let us answer your question with a question. Have you ever seen evening fall over the old town of Vesperashit? If you had, then you would remember. It is one of the great wonders of the world, impossible to mistake or forget. The heart of the city, the old town, is a district composed of weathered marble, comprising thousands of columns and arcades arranged around a series of grand plazas. During the day, it's a beautiful sight, equal to any of the great cities of Pericarnassus. But as the sun sets, the shadows cast by those columns and arcades weave together to form an intricate ombre and lattice. When you see it, you suddenly understand.
The name Advesperaskit means evening comes.
By thousands of people over many centuries, in keeping with a precise plan each believed in, but never expected to see the final completion of. Not only that, but you are also part of that centuries-long plan. When you cross one of the open plazas, your own shadows is effortlessly woven into the great lattice work, a deliberate synthesis of humanity, art, and the natural world. Yes, it is. We grew up there. We have seen the lattice with our own eyes. She was. There are even those who say that Advesperaskit summoned Dolores Day, or that it was built in preparation for her, centuries before her arrival. That's why the old town is sometimes called the ceremonial heart of humanity. Of course, such a city does not spring from nowhere, nor does it endure without effort. Its construction was the work of many generations, and its preservation is an equally monumental responsibility. About 3,000 years.
She really had that on the tip of her tongue. It's like she has the timeline laid out right in front of her.
It is in all senses the most moderate and reasonable projection possible based on current science.
I'm not joking, officer. I'll only be able to hold the signal open for a few more moments. What you came here to ask you now.
Is everything all right? That's difficult to say. We have a very particular view from our observation platform up here. Perhaps the best way to describe it is to say we have a very wide perspective, but not an especially detailed one. Oh, it looks quite lovely from here. From our portal, we see rolling hillsides, a public park filled with grand oak trees, men and women going about on horses. There are children playing by a small pond. The homes and gardens are quite beautiful, very near like those in certain areas of Messina.
Le Jardin, Stella Marie, Saint-Baptiste. She's looking down on the suburbs of Revachol East.
That must be. We've only recently been detailed to the Archer, so we're still learning the names of all the many districts.
She needs to see you down here. That's the only way she'll really get what you're about.
Martinez. That is to the west, yes? Stand by a moment. We are adjusting our viewfinder. Yes, we are looking at the river now. There are small islands in the middle of it. It's very nice, actually. Interesting. The west of the city looks very different from the east. There's a large motorway dividing it nearly in half. This must be the 881, no? Very well. Now, we're looking at an area that seems to be in urgent need of revitalization. Now we see the lake, and around that, a rather vibrant-looking city quarter. There are some large buildings, from the turn of the century, we would guess. Yes, this must be the heart of the district. So, that is Martinez. Extremely different. We knew there were still parts of Revachol that have not fully recovered from the revolution. But here, the destruction is quite evident, even compared to the eastern side of the city. But what's most striking are the people. They just... we don't even know how to say it. We really couldn't say. That's one of the limits of Vantage. But the whole district does have a very desperate character. And then, there's all the tear line about. It's very unpleasant to look at. We're going to widen our viewfinder a bit. Yes, recycling is very important. The coalition always supports initiatives that are roundabout strange. We see the roundabout and the monument, but the horse seems to be missing its head. And there's a man on top of it? That's you. We have to say, that's extremely irregular, Lieutenant. What are you doing on top of the public monument? How interesting. In Messina, disco has been extinct for more than a decade. Funny how the past always is more present in some parts of the world. In any event, it is certainly interesting to see you, even from afar. Most of the time, we signalers just have to imagine what our interlocutors look like.
It's been a long winter, long and cold.
Be advised, officer. The signal is liable to fail any moment now.
Lieutenant Dubois, are you there? Lieutenant Dubois, please repeat. Nothing important. Bad connection. Going to update the receiver frequency.
And the line goes quiet. The lieutenant gives a long sigh as he removes his headphones. He looks up at you.
I think it's best for you to climb off the statue now, Detective. Your real work is done here.
The sun-warmed bronze tingles beneath your fingertips and between your thighs. Your legs have grown stiff. You look around. The strikebreakers are still shouting their slogans and waving their hand-painted signs. Beneath you, the lieutenant and the programmer have begun disconnecting a few cables. You could stay a while longer if you wanted. Out on the bay, a pair of dinghies bob and roll in the waves. The breeze drags the voices of the fishermen toward the plaza. Faint and indecipherable. Further out, a few dirty icebergs drift to and fro. Further still, at the outer edge of your recognizance, the ancient ruins of the sea fort lay piled on the horizon.
Everything all right, Detective? Listen, I understand that you're disappointed that things did not turn out how you might have hoped. But that's just how things go. Now come on. We still have a long day ahead of us.
Good. Now give me a hand with these amplifiers. Leave the cables. I don't feel like making 2 trips.
What's one more trip across the waterlock?
Well, this was an interesting collaboration. Really? I do not think we were all that successful. In any event, just leave that equipment here. Now you'll excuse me?
Good morning! Yeah! Hardcore!
Yes?
The once bright mural towers above you, saying, Feld Electrical, R&D. Tomorrow is just a whisper away. Even though you're sure you succeeded, all is quiet. There is no cold hand brushing against your forehead, no rustle in the reeds. The wind has died down. The ruin in front of you is silent as a tomb. Trying to talk to the wind, the city, whatever you thought would happen did not, and now you're just standing there in the pale of the morning, with your hands fallen to your side. Is trying to talk to the city something you've done before? Is it in your secret repertoire, a prayer of sorts, to Revachol?
How do we? I was really hoping she'd be in the village. Okay. She's probably north of the village, and this place is a peninsula. We already scanned most of the outdoor areas on our wild cryptid hunt, so we have an understanding of the geography, at least. And then there's the church. We've already searched that and can rule it out. I know it doesn't feel like progress, but exclusion is a step too. Anyway, we do it the old-fashioned way, sector by sector. Go over the whole peninsula, ask the locals, enter the places where we can enter first, like we did in the village. Then, if we're desperate, we can look where we can't enter. Bunkers, storm drainage, this place. I'm sure it won't come to that.
Walk the coast, the old boardwalk, the reeds. You can always come back here and talk to the wind again. An adventure awaits. An adventure on the windswept urban coast.
Good morning! Yeah! Hardcore!
Here's an idea. Say what you said before.
Yeah.
It's hard to say for sure, but the digital throb. Old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. You rattle the handle a bit, then push on the door.
We don't get in there. Frankly, you're just going to have to accept the
No. We've gotten into every door thus far. That's what we do. We open doors. We're cops.
Relax. No one's hiding in there. If we can't open it, others can't either.
At least you can think about opening it, about doors in general. They are, after all, fundamental to your life.
From here to the whirling, I can't see how. The church is in the way.
An old door. The once bright mural towers above you, saying, Feld Electrical, R&D. Tomorrow is just a whisper away. Suddenly, there's a sigh, carried on the molecules around you, moving, flowing from high pressure to low pressure, like that of a woman emptying her lungs. She wraps the collapsing stone box in front of you in her breath, in through the collapsed roof, flowing down a concrete staircase to the basement, sweeping away footprints in the dust on the stairs, and then the beach below the boardwalk, its winding tunnels, a whisper away.
She's down there.
Okay, why? So, how do we get in there? The doors were on the collapsed side of this building.
Finally, my time to shine.
Perhaps you can climb them. We are not climbing anything. I'm 43 years old, and I plan to live to see 70.
There has to be a way to use brute force. Climbing sounds unsafe. Brute force is safe. Look around and find something to break if the ladder fails. Out from beneath the rotting boards. A building like this must have multiple doors serving various functions. Perhaps a basement access. Your eyes slowly begin to adjust to the darkness inside the drainage pipe. The lieutenant looks over your shoulder.
Given that this isn't a martial arts thriller, it's highly unlikely. However, the pipe suggests there may be an entrance to the basement around.
He means the pipe must be coming from somewhere in the building. The lieutenant's face lights up. He doesn't usually notice these little things.
And it's right here, a maintenance door.
It's jammed shut. The subtle approach isn't going to work on this one. Oh yeah, big boy time. This needs you to put your back into it. The pipe is sleek with rain. As your eyes adjust, you see some trash. Crumpled up newspapers, cigarette butts. Someone has half-heartedly spray-painted skulls on the right side. And nothing. Broken glass from bottles thrown against the walls of the pipe. A syringe. Behind the pipe, you and the lieutenant lean all your weight into pushing the doors apart. But
let's take a breather and try this again later.
rusty ladder leads to the rooftop.
Yeah, that doesn't look good at all.
The distances between the remaining rungs are rather wide. You'd have to use the mounting brackets. However, they seem corroded and the peeling rust is razor sharp. In addition, the first rung is going to be tough to reach. It's what, 3 meters above the ground, and you're 180? Not to mention that the roof is collapsing and the wind gets pretty brutal up there. Dismounting from the ladder is going to be hard. Perhaps if you were to not climb the ladder. Instead, what if you were to do something more subtle? What if you were to reconceptualize climbing the ladder? Astral projection. Be open-minded about this.
Teleportation is not a thing.
Even if it isn't, no one told you.
That's not how physics work, Detective. And even if it were, wouldn't you need some kind of apparatus?
What are they talking about?
Teleportation, Mikhail. It's generally thought impossible.
Oh yes, it could hurt.
He is restraining himself from using a parental tone with you right now. The rusty ladder leads to the rooftop. All you need to do is close your eyes and concentrate. Darkness enfolds you. You can feel the distance between the bench and the first rung of the ladder. Zoot, zap, pow, crinkle. It's like magic. You feel yourself disappear, your atoms fading out of existence.
Oh my god, I can't believe it.
Bam! You find yourself on the roof, having mastered the art of physical displacement.
I just saw you climb the ladder. You just climbed it like a regular person.
No, not like a regular person. Like a phased spider. The wind at the top of the building starts howling loudly, blowing away the lieutenant's voice. Faintly you hear,
Never mind. Find a way to let me in when you get inside. Don't go adventuring with a backup.
Two rusty metal plates that slide apart form a crude door. It's been here under the boardwalk for a while.
What do you mean, who's there? It's me, Kim. Stop playing around and help me get the door open.
It's much easier from this side. The panels on the rails slide once you dust the sand off. With the help of your partner, from the other side, the doors open with a creak.
Huh. I hope no one dangerous heard that. Yes, time to investigate these passages. Let's move quietly and not make more sound.
Not running is a great way to do that. This isn't just glass. These are old computation components. Yes, filament memories. From the time when wires were cast in glass, slides with an inlaid nervous system. The how was a closely guarded secret. Something that was locked in safes in human heads across the river where they were manufactured. As to why, the why is easy, because they hadn't come up with modern silicon-based systems yet. For vitreous cast filament memories.
So it is. I think it is used to form a single system, slotted in the wall. The rest of the building seems to have been picked clean. These? No. These are old filament memories. I hope you're not expecting to find that device here.
All you'll find here is pain. Your grip is firm, yet controlled.
That's very good. Nein, Liebling.
The signal is clear. The storm has passed.
Try it now, officer.
Lieutenant Dubois.
Aha! Excellent! You are connected.
This is it. And by that, there is so much you wish.
Please be advised that you are speaking on a public figure beyond
Dolores Day.
Oh.
Not true.
She was in the role of the Moralist International. It's because, for the most part, it was established by the fast and then...
For some reason, it's the Social Democrats she sounds most...
We don't...
She speaks...
But of course, at the same time, the RCM is not exactly off the collision. It's our...
There is some truth.
But in a practical sense, it's the response. One, history is a river. Let us answer your question with a... If you... The heart... Let us...
The name at Vesperas.
But not only that. Yes, it is. She was. That's what... Of course, such a city does not about...
She...
It is in all senses the most... perhaps the best...
Le Jardin.
That's...
She needs to...
Martinez... Stand by... Yes, interesting. The West of... Very well. Now we see... extreme... But what's most striking are the people. We really... And then there's all the... Yes. Around... That's you. We have to say, that's extremely irregular, Lieutenant. What are you doing? How? In any event...
Liebling.
Time is running.
Come again? We're picking up more interference. You are currently speaking with Coalition Warship Archer, flagship of Insurgent forces in Revachon. No, the captain of the Archer is deeply classified intelligence. We are the second signaler. Our name is not important. All you need to know is that we hold the position of second signaler aboard the Archer.
You really don't have the faintest guess what her name could be. You were never very good at this sort of thing. There's something in the way she refers to herself, always with the first person plural. A deliberate blurring of the boundary between herself and the institution she represents. Not to mention the airborne artillery platform she works on. Her every word is backed up by the most powerful ordnance available.
It's a great honor and responsibility. In addition to monitoring public frequencies, we are tasked with maintaining some of the most sensitive communication equipment aboard the Archer. Oh, it's fine.
Hold on. You can tell she has more to say.
Of course, serving on a coalition warship does require some personal sacrifices, but we have to be willing to make them if we believe in the mission. Nothing remarkable. Really, we have been very fortunate. But we do sometimes wonder what we might be missing out on, like in Messina. But now, we have gotten quite far afield.
Officer, I've held the signal open as long as I can.
Is everything alright? Acknowledged. To reach the committee, all you need to do is fill out the appropriate request form and submit it to the liaison for public affairs. If the liaison accepts your request, you will be invited to address the committee at their next quarterly public hearing. We believe the next hearing is scheduled for July.
She's got to be jerking your chain, right? You can't wait that long.
Not a problem. If this is a time-sensitive matter, you may file an emergency address request with the liaison for public affairs. They typically respond within a few weeks. We're afraid that is quite impossible, Lieutenant Dubois. We cannot transfer you to the committee because we are not entrusted with that responsibility.
Then, why are you wasting time with her? You should demand to speak with who's really in charge.
That is the nature of the command pyramid.
This line of argument is quite pointless. You should abandon it.
This isn't about you. Not really. It may have been at a certain point, but you've let go of that perspective. This is about your responsibility to all of Revachon. Now, take a deep breath. Look upward. You don't have to bear the burden alone.
What? How do you know this? Lieutenant Dubois, this is a very serious claim. Please describe the situation as succinctly as possible. We will forward your summary to the committee.
There's papers rustling in the background. There, you've wedged your foot in the door. Now, if you could show the coalition how much they're needed, you have the facts. Just lay them out beneath the cold light of reason.
Please continue. We're listening. We have it. Is there anything else the committee should know?
Detective, before you answer that, I urge you to weigh your words extremely carefully.
The lieutenant is afraid you're going to say something too outre.
We're afraid we must ask you to repeat that, Lieutenant Dubois.
Afraid? What is she afraid of? Her tone has shifted. She's no longer herself.
Acknowledge. Listen very carefully, Lieutenant. We're going to ask you a series of questions. It is imperative that you answer as directly and truthfully as you can. Do you understand? Good. First question. Are you currently in the vicinity of Surragli, the North Arcade Islands, or near Pale Offshore Platform in Sulindico? Very good. Next question. Would you describe the phenomenon as internal to the Isola or external to the Isola?
What she means is, actually, you have no idea what those words could mean in this context.
Next question. At the time, did you experience sense objects? Yes. Examples may include sound, memory, light. Let's go on. Final question. Were you alone?
Yes, unquestionably, irrevocably alone. Of course not. The radio programmer was there. You are part of a large family. There's no need to overthink this.
We repeat. Were you alone?
You hear the sound of a page ripping.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Please stand by while we transmit our summary.
A long winter.
I'm not sure how much longer I can keep this.
Lieutenant Dubois, this is Collision Warship Archer. Please acknowledge. Thank you for standing by. We are authorized to report the Committee of Responsibility for Revachon has acknowledged and accepted your request. They would like you to address your matter to the committee directly, as their earliest convenience. Subito. Coalition Shuttle Laurel is setting a course for your position. They will arrive momentarily. Stand by.
To the southwest, one of the smaller aerostatics that hover above the city breaks from its holding pattern. Coalition Shuttle Laurel begins executing a slow turn.
So? They're really coming?
The lieutenant adjusts his microphone.
Well, what now? You've accomplished your side task. You've contacted Coalition Warship Archer. Is whether we are about to lose you to the moral intern. What options? What in God's name are you talking about, Detective?
The lieutenant takes a moment to compose his thoughts.
I don't know where this case will lead us, Detective. But in a sense, that doesn't matter. Our job is to follow the evidence where it leads. Because that's what it means to be an officer of the RCM.
The lieutenant's final words are nearly swallowed by the roar of the aerostatic's main rotors.
Lieutenant Dubois, this is Coalition Warship Archer. We have been instructed to inform you that the Laurel arrived at your position.
No shit. How are they supposed to hear your...
Thank you. The Committee of Responsibility for Ravachol has authorized us to offer you an immediate extraction. Do you accept? We are far past that point, Lieutenant.
The roundabout, Martinez North, daytime. Across the plaza, a pair of seagulls fight over the remains of a chicken wing. The programmer eyes you curiously. She does not understand why you're hesitating. Whatever her misgivings about the Coalition, the fact is that you've summoned an aerostatic with your voice. The lieutenant looks up toward you. He starts to open his mouth, then appears to think better of it. He's spoken his piece, he thinks. It's up to you now. There is something, a whisper, circulating among the city's footnoted alleyways and along its electrical wires. But what it's saying, you can't tell. It seems to be a message meant for someone else.
Acknowledged. Laurel has initiated the extraction procedure. Stand by.
Marianne hat mir erzählt, dass Oscar nicht mehr derselbe ist, seit auf einem Luftschiff zurückgekommen.
Weeks later, no answers about extracted cop. The condition and whereabouts of an RCM officer extracted by a Coalition aerostatic 2 weeks ago remain unknown. The dramatic maneuver witnessed by dozens near the North Roundabout has reportedly increased tensions between the citizens of Martinez, the RCM, and Coalition authorities. Early reports that the lieutenant was investigating entropinetic phenomena along the coast have not been confirmed.